Welcome to this week's Terrace Bay Council meeting. A new councillor, Bill Webb, joined the table following Bert Johnson's retirement. The biggest issue on the agenda was the discovery of severe rot and water damage at the Tourist Information Center, raising tough questions about costly repairs versus temporary closure. Council also heard from the fire department about challenges in training volunteer firefighters under new provincial rules, with discussions underway to create a North Shore Rural Training Center. Now here's tonight's agenda.
Again, everyone. Welcome to the second meeting, the regular council meeting of Monday, September 15th, 2025. Declaration: the council of the town of Terrace Bay hereby acknowledges that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Nishnabek and the Métis. Are there any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none. We have a motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Dubé, resolved that council approve the agenda for the regular council meeting held September 15th, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Carried. Are there any disclosures of interest? Hearing none. Adoption of minutes. With motion moved by Councillor Dubé, seconded by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held September 2nd, 2025 be approved as presented. All in favor? Carried. Or is there any questions on the minutes? None. You may be heard. Report from administration. Don, the Tourist Information Center.
Thank you, Your Worship. So in May 2025, administration engaged KGS Engineering to issue an RFP to replace the roof of the Tourist Information Center, or the TIC, as all referred to going forward. Subsequently, the work was awarded to Northern Sheet Metal, with work commencing in July of this year. Sorry, my screen is flashing here. Upon removing sections of the roof, Northern Sheet Metal found the roof deck was rotten. The extent of the damage is not known, as NSM stopped the work to let us decide what to do. NSM also discovered that the walls of the building were also rotten. The extent of this is also unknown, fully unknown at this time. We do know that two sides of the building are showing significant damage in the sections that were opened up. It's suspected that the roof overhang was not adequate enough, causing water to drip back into the walls and or runoff. And could be backing up into the walls. With the initial investigation, the exterior walls showed significant signs of water damage and rot, and would likely eventually need to be either repaired or completely replaced. Interestingly, the inside of the building is not showing signs of water damage, mold, or the need for a dehumidifier, and poses no risk to that at this time. Administration is currently in discussions with both KGS and Northern Sheet Metal on options for proceeding. Costs on repairing the damaged walls fully been roughly estimated, and I stress very roughly estimated, at upwards of $500,000. The option exists to withdraw from replacing the roof and replace the soffit fascia that has been removed, ensuring the building was sealed for the winter. There will be costs associated with the work that's already been completed, as well as the standby fee that NSM had a crew waiting to resume work rather than be redeployed on another project. Exact costs and grant coverage on them are unknown at this time. Alternatively, council could direct the roof replacement continue to completion. The outstanding repairs could be done in phases spread over time to keep your in-year cost manageable, but also provide the opportunity to explore grant funding to assist. In terms of building safety, currently with a limited number of locations exposed, reviewed, and the current level of element deterioration, KGS Group has not uncovered anything that it would deem there need to be a closure of the Tourist Information Center. If the township decides to move forward with temporarily enclosing the exposed areas, KGS recommends regular inspections every 6 months. The TIC provides seasonal employment to community members. The TIC also has 2 public washrooms for visitors, which are known to be limited in the community and costly to rebuild or establish at another location. Council may want to discuss whether we need a TIC, continue to want it in that location, what priority it holds, and what other communities are doing with their TICs. Currently, there's some key pieces of information missing. How does our eventual action impact our funding? What are the costs of proceeding or stopping, etc. The prudent action may be to reestablish the exposed sections of the roof or recover the exposed sections of the roof, essentially closing the building back up and investigate how to move forward with the roof and investigate funding options for the larger repairs required for the walls. Financial implications are unknown fully at this time, given the issues that we face and the options that have been presented to us thus far. As stated above, the very ballpark number administration has been provided for the complete fix is $500,000. The initial budget for the roof project was $161,798, with 90% being covered through the grant, leaving approximately $16,180 to be funded through the 2025 tax levy. At this time, the report is being presented for council's information only at this time. Administration will provide a recommendation as soon as possible regarding a definitive course of action. So I just want to bring up, actually, I'll bring Katie up to the seat and introduce her. Let's see. Sorry, yes, to my daughter on the screen too. So welcoming Katie Freeman, our new community development manager, to the table. So I'm just going to show some pictures and I'll let Katie chime in if she wants with respect to some of the grant funding or anything else on the sorry.
That was my suggestions for your predecessor, was you put another TV on that wall as well.
So some of these shots were taken, I think they're all taken by KGS actually. So you can see in their initial investigation, I believe this is before they opened up the full roof, showing some condition of the base. That's the exposed roof. See some of the rafters are in there. It's just on a shot of the building from the side. You can see some of the rot along the side there, especially some of the fascia and soffit. There's an up close shot of one of the corners. Obviously, clearly some wood rot there on the plywood. Same thing. Just the other side there, looking back towards the town office. Some obvious rot there as well too. Lots of water damage, and again, interestingly enough, nothing showing on the inside with respect to leaking. Or this was all prompted from a roof condition assessment we had done by Flynn back in 2023. That's why we applied for the grant to have it redone. So then, at the time, I believe there was some screws loose and washers were starting to wear down. But anyway, with that, I will just give Katie a second to speak.
Yeah, I think I can add a little bit more. So I went in there today to speak with Jerry. And certainly the inside of the building is totally intact. There's no water damage inside. There's nothing that is visible to the public. In the time that I was in there, there were at least 10 people that kind of came in, expressed, happiness to use the bathroom, things like that. So certainly it's a fairly well-used spot. There are some things that I got back from NLHSC today. So basically, we can proceed with the roof. As is, knowing that, we could apply for some more funding to do the walls. That $500,000 number may be really high, maybe coming better than that. We can do nothing as a second option. We can decide to button it up, not do the roof at all, say goodbye to the funding. We would be responsible in that case for the cost to NSM so far. So they do have a bill for us, so we would be responsible for that. And then the third option would be to apply for the rural enhancement program, which would cover 75% up to $500,000. So we're getting up to 90% coverage of the roof and moving on to a different funding body. So those were the three options that I was able to get today.
Okay, so we give up the 161, whatever it is. We give up the roof funding now. We'd reapply for another grant to cover the 75% of the entire cost. Is that what we do?
So option number one is to actually just move forward with the roof, right? And to actually apply for more funding for the walls, under that, sort of a new grant under the 90%. The second option would be or maybe we would make this the third option, is to do nothing. Is to say, you know what, we're going to give you your funding back. We'll pay for the cost to NSM. We've decided as council that we don't even want that building, or we're going to move it somewhere else. We're not going to put any money into it. And then the other option would be to give up that funding that we have and start from the beginning applying for that 75% coverage, to do the whole new thing, to do a whole new funding grant.
Okay. But if we do that, we're gonna have to close this roof up for the winter, because you won't
We
know.
will, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And the roof's not getting any better.
The roof, the quote, if I'm correct, was to just do the sheet metal, right?
Yeah.
And now we know there's more rot in there. So we're not gonna get it done for what this, well, we think, how much more do we know? Do we know? Like, has KGS got an idea what the new number is gonna be, knowing that we have to fix all that rot up top? Because, we're definitely not gonna go in there, in my opinion anyway, throw sheet metal up over a rotten roof.
No.
So honestly, I think we should button it up and let's work on it. You know, if we have to give the funding back, we suck up what we've got to pay to close it up and we reapply for another stream to see if we can get the whole thing done.
Always got a point. So just, again, we put this forward without a recommendation at this time, due to the fact that we were waiting for some more information. One of the pieces of information we're waiting for is to come from, through KGS from NSM with respect to what it would cost us to just button the building up. So we don't have those costs now. Alan, from KGS will be getting to us tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and also just to be clear, like, we can do the roof and we can still apply for more funding to do the
Right,
walls.
yeah, yeah.
We can follow through with that. That is another option.
But this roof is not gonna be, what did we say, 161?
Yeah, more than 160.
It's gonna be a lot more than 161.
Because we have to do the roof deck.
We have to do it right, yeah. So we could be looking at 200, we don't know. We won't know till tomorrow.
You know how old the building is? 91.
91?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was.
Since the original roof I had.
It may be worth it to have a discussion about what does the tourist information center mean to us, right? Do we need it? Do we, what does it provide the community? So, I mean, just looking at what are other places doing, for the tourist information center. So if you look in the Circle Tour book, like, even people that are coming here for the Circle Tour are all going to places that are considered tourist information sites, right? So in Nipigon, for instance, they actually decided to close theirs, because the whole idea was they were going to move it down to the National Marine Conservation Area building, and now they've made an announcement recently that that's been scrapped. They have to come up with a plan B.
Mhm.
So, but the idea is, from a tourism perspective, that people are moving to these tourist information centers in one form or another. So the other thing about it is that that does provide bathrooms to the community that we are at a bit of a premium at the moment. So just some thoughts, I mean.
Yeah.
Things to think about.
To your point, I believe there's only 3 tourist information centers left where I leave. Pigeon River, Thunder Bay, and us. There were no other ones left.
Wawa.
Does Wawa have one step?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only have to find.
Yeah.
No,
So there are not a lot of them around.
Sure.
And I would think that if we go and look at our numbers, it's a pretty well visited place in the summer.
Thing is, we brought it up to like the water damage will persist through this winter and then
Yeah.
that funding is lost. However, if we do perceive this, is the cost elevated for sure, but then we know for sure the roof's not leaking anymore and it's not creating more damage, because who knows, potentially over this winter, whatever screws are loose or whatever, that could move its way to the inside. Now we got a bigger problem, then that's for sure condemned as of right now.
John's gonna provide on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can move.
Yeah. We can move
Yeah.
on.
The motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, second by Councilor Dubé, resolved that this report be received as information only. All in favor? Carried. The public meeting discussion, John.
So previously, it had been discussed that we were looking to have some sort of public meeting at some point here during the year. Just in discussions, informal discussions with Mayor Malashewski, who's been waiting till after AMO, sort of things came up. But does council wish to have a sort of a public engagement session? And what time would be the appropriate time to have that is sort of the question coming back from the administration. One of the things you may want to consider is with respect to what happens with the mill. You know, want to wait a little longer to see what happens with a potential buyer or potential sale.
I definitely think we should have one, especially with Councilor Webb now. And it's been a while. I think it's good. When you choose to have it, yeah, that's again. If you want to wait, I would rather have one before Christmas. I think.
Before Christmas.
Okay.
Should be here before the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
I was thinking the end of October.
Yeah.
We're gonna know one way or another by the end of October, where,
First part of November, I won't
Yeah.
be here. I'm on for half of October.
you're gone for half of October, first part of November.
No, till the 26th of October, I'm gone.
Okay, but we could have it,
26th,
I think we could have it before that, or even just after when you get back.
first week in November.
Yeah, that would be fine, but I think we'll kind of be in a position with the mill. We'll understand, I hope, a little more.
So the project due date was September 30th for completion on that roof.
Mhm.
So should I apply for an extension for now until we have a meeting?
We can discuss while we're back. The meeting will bring forward something. If a special meeting is required, just going back to that topic for a second, if a special meeting is required, we can hold one for sure.
Mhm.
The first week in November for that public meeting, or?
And fifth, you're thinking
Yeah.
of, like, that's a Wednesday? Like,
Yeah, we want to do it in the middle of the week.
Okay,
I'm not here that week.
we don't,
You're not here for that week?
what about in October then, prior to you leaving?
doesn't matter. Well, we're kind of just said we want to wait and hopefully see what something happens with the mill.
Hey, you know what? Let's do it when John's back. We can do it in the second or third week of November. It's not a cap.
19th.
That's what we'll shoot for as administration for now then. And
Yeah.
if anything more pressing comes up or the timeline shortened because we get news of the mill, we can certainly adjust. And
Exactly, yeah.
schedule it earlier. So
Yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, next John. Next item, fire department. Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So this report is presented for council's information. Only background information. In 2022, the Ontario government passed OREG 34322 firefighter certification, which establishes mandatory minimum training standards for firefighters delivering specific services, ensuring consistent quality training across the province. Current discussion. Since the introduction of this legislation, organizing training for our firefighters has been challenging to line up. With the closest rural training center located in Thunder Bay, taking the time off work to attend the courses, and lost wages that our current per diem cannot make up for, it is almost impossible to get our existing firefighters and future recruits trained up to legislative standards by July 1st, 2026. Recruitment and retention is also down due to the legislation as well. With our current roster of 26, we have 18 personnel that are grandfathered or trained up to the standard, with another 8 members currently enrolled or needing to be enrolled in the college courses. Our current numbers has us 4 members short, as our full department complement should be at 30. What is unknown is, where does the shortfall leave our department? Do we have enough members trained up to standard to be able to be an effective and compliant interior attack fire department? Or are we only able to perform exterior attack on structures, structure fires, and no vehicle extrication? Partnering with Scriber, Nippigan, and Marathon, we are currently in discussions with the Ontario Fire Marshal's office to start our own rural training center, which will be called the North Shore Rural Training Center. This would significantly reduce the cost of training for our personnel, as everything would be done at a local level and in a timely manner when it best suits the students. We are in the early stages, but we will be seeking support from each community to be able to make this successful. Financial implications, none at the moment, as appropriate training dollars were included in the 2025 budget. However, to become compliant in the future, course enrollment per diems for firefighters, lost wages, and travel expenses, meals, hotels, travel, etc., would all need to be considered. Most of our courses will cost, on average, $1,500 to $2,000 per student, depending on the course. Options and recommendations are not at this time, so for this is for council information.
Any questions for Dylan?
No.
Yeah, I spoke with Chief Boland informally near the end of August, and when that resolution was put forward from, I can't recall which community it was, and we supported that resolution. And I spoke to you that I was going to bring it forward to council to support it. And even in my email today, I received it's making its way around various communities about, how is this going to affect us, budget wise? How can we afford to do this? How can we expect people to take time off of work and whatnot, make for a volunteer fire department, right? So it's definitely making its ways around. I'm not sure how much the province is listening. That's the thing, but we have supported this through the resolution from other communities as a council. So just from that area, I just wanted to bring that forward again.
Director Gary or Bill?
No, it's good to see you guys are looking at some alternatives. I'm glad to see that. I understand that if this legislation goes through and there's no amendments to it, it's going to get very costly for all communities to pay for fire protection. Like,
The legislation is through. The legislation's there.
Yeah, we need it amended.
Yeah.
You don't have a ballpark figure, Ryan, for how much it would cost?
For the rural training center?
Yeah.
No. I talked with our firefighters association, and they're talking about maybe purchasing some sea cans,
Okay.
which is huge, which is great. I mean, they're not overly expensive, but they're still expensive enough. I still need to talk with fire chiefs. There was a meeting today with this weekend with the fire marshal's office about the rural training center, and they are for it. So I did receive an email after council passed that resolution from the deputy fire marshal asking if there was anything they could do to support our fire department. So that was nice. I haven't reached out to him yet until I just need to get some more information down. But I did do some research this weekend, and our fire department is in very good shape. We have 18 of 26 firefighters that are signed off, which is a lot better than some. So we are in good shape, and I don't know that I would worry too much about it. But as far as, if we get a fire call and somebody needs to be taken out of their home, we have trained personnel for that. So whether or not, to be an exterior fire department, I don't think we'll be there because of our training to date. So we would never go to a call the way we are right now. We would never go to a call and not go inside if there's somebody that needed. We can still do the vehicle extrication. All of our guys and gals are trained up and grandfathered through years of courses with vehicle extrication. So I had 2 firefighters in the college course this week, and 3 firefighters in the hazardous materials operations this week as well. So it's getting done. It's just it's not fast enough to meet the July. But with this rural training center, if it's brought here between our towns, it'll be very beneficial.
So would you have a number, Ryan, for Danny for the budget for next year?
Not until I figure out what the RTC will cost. And what the firefighters association is willing to chip in as well.
Right.
What was our cost per speed previously,
Where we're looking at FireCon.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, like I said, depending on the course rate, sometimes they're 2-day courses, sometimes they're 5. So you're thinking $1,500 to $2,000 all in.
Yeah. Was it cheaper before? I mean, just to give you a number here, that's what they cost on average now. This is when we trained that previously. Was it?
Depends on where we did it. Like say before we needed the college courses, we were done. We could do it in Marathon. We could do it in Nippigan. So it was travel back and forth. Each course, good to go. And that's the courses that my grandfather did.
Yes.
I mean, I took vehicle education in 2006. It still was a college course, but I'm still grandfathered with it. So yeah, it's all different.
Just one thing that wasn't pointed out already, I'm sorry if I missed it, but prior to lots of courses, if they weren't brought up fire climbing, you had to go take them to Ontario Fire College. Maybe that's one. One of the 3. So that was definitely prohibited for us rural northerners to go down, travel, take 6 weeks off work. So it's gotten better with the training center at Thunder Bay and the FireCon offerings were there. but it's still not sort of good enough. So there's still gaps. Certainly it's a challenge, as Chief Paul was pointing out in his report. Something again, maybe we look to continue to advocate for when we go to our top business ministers. Yeah, I mean, we're not the first to do it, we're not the last to do it. There's lots, councils see lots of these resolutions across the table. You know, we don't support them all, and it's just because there's so many of them, so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Any other questions?
Just, I mean, I think we all know at least one firefighter, and we appreciate you guys a lot. So whenever, you know, we can go to our conferences and advocate, you know, we wanna make sure we hear from you that be able to do that. So appreciate you coming tonight, Ryan.
Yeah.
For all sharing with us. And you know, also I really appreciate the fact, you know, we got a good crew right now. Just thinking even 5-10 years from now, but some of those guys aren't gonna be 10 years younger, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna be either. So not to remind you of that, but you know, just we want to make sure we got a good training program. So this is great, you know, an initiative on the training center. I think may even be also talking to promise maybe a mile marker for other regional municipalities to look to us. So appreciate you and the other chiefs in the area. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan. We have a motion moved by Councillor Dubé, seconded by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that this report be received as information only. All in favor? And the next item under communications, I think everyone's read it, the Thunder Bay Auto Sports Club donation for this year. They're wondering who we want to give it to. We split it before. I can't remember who we gave it to last year.
It's the Forget Me Not at Home Shelter, and they found the food bank.
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, in their letter there.
Yeah, last year was 1,000 to the Harvest Food
Yep.
Cover and 722.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to do it, we could do the same again. If that
Yep.
was an 822,
Yep,
does that sound good to you
I was
guys?
thinking too. Yeah, $1,000.
If everybody's in agreement with it, I think that's.
Mary or Bill, any thoughts?
I may have asked this before. Both organizations have charitable status. Or maybe that doesn't matter to them.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the food bank does, but I just don't know if, and maybe it doesn't matter to them. I just wouldn't want them to get into tax trouble. I said, oh, the municipality recommended me give to the Forget Me Not shelter, but they don't actually have charitable status, so.
I just wonder if Forget Me Not meat, but like, I don't know how much cats would be buying in here. You know what I'm saying? If they got $3,000 in the bank or whatever, and they're good for, you know, maybe.
I've been told that they are, any time they can get money, it's a good thing. It costs a lot of money for all of this stuff, and anything is helpful. I've heard that secondhand and firsthand through various people. That stuff like this goes a long way.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll reach out and ask them. We just want to make sure that they're looking for a tax receipt, then they'll get one, but I'll get the things to get split to you guys.
Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, seconded by Councillor Dubé, all that council approved the donation in the amount of $1,822.25 from the Auto Sport Club, and funds shall be directed to food bank and animal shelter, right? Thousands to the food bank and the rest to the animal shelter.
Yep.
For the annual use of the airport property, all in favor, carried. Hollywood. Okay, the next item is from the Northwest Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. For the purchase of the membership, the amount of $60. We have a motion from Councillor Dubé and seconded by Councillor St. Louis. All the council agree to partner with the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame with the purchase of a membership in the amount of $60. Any questions on that motion? Nope. All in favor? Carried. And the next one here is from Scriber, supporting the resolution for the OPP Detachment Board funding resolution. And talking to John and Danny, I'm sure this money was used to run the right programs for as long as I can remember. We used to give us this amount of money to run the right programs, pay their officers time and a half. So Anyways, here it is, moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor Dubé. That whereas under the Police Services Act 1990, municipalities receive provincial grant funding to offset costs associated with the appointment of provincial representatives to local police service boards. And whereas the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 came into effect on April 1st, 2024, consolidating municipal individual police service boards into regional OPP detachment boards, thereby streamlining governance across jurisdictions. And whereas the establishment of detachment boards under the CSPA has resulted in a reduction in the number of provincial appointees required in OPP police municipalities, yielding cost savings for the province of Ontario. And whereas the CSPA was designed to enhance community engagement and local governance and policing, yet the withdrawal of provincial funding undermines this intent by shifting the financial burden entirely onto municipalities and local taxpayers. And whereas during the development of both the 2024 and 2025 board budget, it was understood that provincial funding would be provided in support of detachment board operations. And whereas it has been confirmed that the province will not be providing the anticipated contribution of $6,600, an amount previously expected as part of ongoing provincial support, now therefore be it resolved that a formal request be submitted to the Premier of Ontario and the Minister of the Solicitor General, respectfully requesting a reinstatement of the annual $6,600 in funding to support the ongoing operations and governance of the North Superior OPP Detachment Board. And that a copy of this resolution be circulated to all participating municipalities with the detachment board area, as well as to the member of provincial parliament, the Thunder Bay Superior North. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. No other? Any questions online, John?
Now's the time for question period. As I put it to the chat, please type your first and last name and type your question into the chat or into the Q&A.
Say, Mike, you have anything else to? No questions from the audience?
Any questions?
Second call for questions online. And third and final call for questions online.
No questions on it. Thank you. Then the next item, the motion moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor Dubé, resolved that the next regular meeting of council is to be held on October 6, 2025. All in favor? Carried. And the next item is our Councillor Dubé. Councillor Dubé, resolved that we now adjourn at 7:03. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.